Hello again, everybody. Welcome back to the podcast, Retro Life for You, movies of the 1980s. My name is Chris Adams. I'm hosting the show,
And
and
I'm
this goober here next to me is none other than Travis
yeah,
Rollins.
it's not Goober, it's Gomer. I'm
Gomer,
I'm really getting into our theme music, Chris.
golly,
Golly.
you tell Sergeant Carter about it.
I did. Sergeant
What he
Carter.
what do you have to say?
Pow!
You numbskull, you nitwit, you knucklehead.
What's going on, man? How was your weekend? Or how was your
Uh,
week?
the week has been all right. The weekend is just my first day off of my weekend, my 2 days. So I mean, it was pretty good today. Went out to eat lunch earlier with my dad and watched some a little bit of baseball, a little bit of basketball tonight. I actually sat in with a friend of ours on his show earlier for wrestling, Mister KS,
Oh yeah,
Mister Ray Franklin,
Mr. Ray Franklin.
along with Mister Huck. Ray sat in with me last week, and we recorded an episode for Die Hard.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Oh, that was we were
you weren't available for
breaking
this one.
breaking the fourth wall. Are we breaking the fourth wall? Or are we just revealing our scheduling?
Well, we're not revealing our schedule because by the time this episode comes out, Die Hard was last week.
Oh, okay. Very nice.
So,
But
very
what
nice.
were we discussing whether or not it was a Christmas movie?
We did. We brought it up. Now here's what we did.
Okay.
And if any of you forgot to write in, make sure you get them emails in. Well,
Better do it.
we did it where I took the side of it being a Christmas movie. He took the side of it not being a Christmas movie.
Okay.
His argument was very much failure,
hmm
although he sticks with it. But what
Yep.
we
Yep.
did was we've asked the audience, the listeners, to please email in. I put the email address out there, retrolife, the number 4YOU at gmail.com, to
hmm
email us with their answer. Was it or was it not a Christmas movie? We're letting the fans decide. And once we get the tally up there, we get our emails stop coming in. I'll tally them up and I'll put it out there what the people say. So
Mm.
it's gonna
I
be
have my
spicy.
vote. I have
Oh,
my vote.
might make sure you put your vote in there. Your vote counts
I'm going to have to
because
do
you were a
that.
listener last week.
I was.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
So how'd your time go?
Quickly. It was a little short. Some friends of ours rented a lake house, and we met them out there on the boat down here on Lake Secession, and then came back, and that's pretty much it. Woke up, got ready, went down there, came back late at night. Had we we had fun with them on the lake. We came back last night, and then got up today, and went and got my mom one of those uh, portable air conditioning units, on the
Yeah,
wheels. You just put the vent outside the window. It's
right.
not as efficient as a window unit, but she can roll it around and move it if she wants to. 12,000 BTU. It dumps some cold air.
That's good.
Then came back and played a couple games of chess with my 11-year-old, and here I am.
Oh, you're all sophisticated with your game, and all I did was get on some WoW Classic and play some WoW Cataclysm Classic. And
Oh,
once again, it's in the old themes, in the old days, like my retro theme goes.
mm-hmm.
Cata came out a long time ago. So what can I say? I played some today. I hit level 80. The inner nerd in me is geeking out.
Mm.
5 more levels to go before I max out on this version. So,
Nice.
well, this week we are tackling a top 10 list. We haven't done a top 10 in a while. Now, these are not, I don't think we're doing like 10 to number one in our minds. It's just 10 of our
No.
favorite movies.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
10 of our favorite movies from the year
I had
1980.
some criteria. I had some criteria I judged off of for sure.
Did you?
Yeah, for sure.
Uh,
But they're definitely not in order of my personal. I guess they are my personal favorites, but you know what I mean. Like they're for the criteria, I guess, and they are in no particular order.
no particular order. And the way that I did mine was the ones that I remembered and liked the most from that time frame. Anything like Tim has told us, rewatchability to memories to just,
Right.
what was it like at the time for me? Is it memorable
hmm
because of the time when I watched it? Different things like that.
Well, I had a couple that would have made the list, but I had to bump them, um, just because of for me. One of the things that goes into me as far as judging my favorite movies may not actually be whether or not I personally like the movie more, You know what I mean? You have those ones that are neck and neck. You know, like them hard choices. So
Oh,
you got to find something to bump it on from criteria. You know, so my criteria on who got bumped was which one was more significant to cinematic history.
well, for the record, I listed 13 and I booted 3 for my
Yeah,
10. And the other 3, I was like, yes and no. I'll mention them at the end of the podcast what my 3 others were.
yeah, yeah.
So for those of you who are interested in who my other 3 were, make sure you stick around to the end of the podcast to hear that from both. I don't know if
And I'll do mine right
Travis has
now.
it.
So we
What's
can do.
yours?
I'll do mine on the front. I only had 2.
Okay.
So I have more than that, but I only remember 2 because I didn't keep them on my list. It was Lady and the Tramp, and
Yes.
then it was I didn't realize it was a re-release, so it had to get bumped. It would have stayed, but the
Oh.
Aristocats animated feature, it would have stayed, but I realized it was a re-release,
Yeah.
so it had to go.
All right. Well, we'll get mine at the end of it. I only had 3, and I didn't try to get any more fancier with it than that. But
You know what makes me sad though? Before we get started,
what's that?
there were no Arnold Schwarzenegger movies this year.
You know what makes me happy on that note?
There were no Arnold Schwarzenegger movies this year.
leave on tell your accent through the whole show.
Yeah.
Uh, speaking of Arnold, did you hear about Stallone wanting to make a new movie based on musical composers?
No.
That he's going to play the part of Wolfgang Amadeus.
What?
And John Claude Van Damme, he piped in and said he'd be in it. And he'll play the role of Beethoven.
Oh my God, dude! How crazy would that be? If
Schwarzenegger looked at him and said, "I'm not playing, guys. Forget it." You know what they were wanting to hear him say?
What?
I'll be back.
I'll be back.
Not back.
I'll be back. I'll be back.
You're
that
welcome.
was a good one.
You're
that
welcome.
Was good. I was going for it. I was marking on it, dude.
You thought I was serious.
I was marking on it. I'm like, let's do it. Let's get all the Expendables cast and make a daggone.
Oh my God! All right, who's gonna go first?
I don't care. I guess since I guess since I'm on the left this week.
I tell you what, I was gonna tell you. Let's do this. Since you don't have any Arnold movies, you can go first.
Okay, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Well, coming first to the list, I guess if you were gonna make one, you'd have to put this one first. If you were to like do a my favorite or something like that, or greatest movies or whatever. I got Raging Bull with the one and only Mr. Robert De Niro.
De Niro.
Wow, 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 wow. Yeah, that one. The significance behind it is there. It's a great movie. It's like, honest to God, watching Raging Bull really reminds me of watching the life story of the guy from Mexico. He was around. He was big in the 80s, as a matter of fact. Cannot remember his name to save my life, but he was a boxer, real life boxer.
Sure.
I can't
heavyweight, lightweight.
Yeah, he was a heavyweight.
Okay.
Big time. I'll remember. I'll figure his name out before the end of the show. But yeah, man, just a gritty, grimy movie. I don't know what else to say about it. Robert De Niro, young and great.
One of his early. Is this the one that Joe Pesci was in?
Joe was in that one. Yeah, he was. I don't remember if he's his manager or what. It's been a while since I've seen this one.
I knew he was in one of those boxing movies from back in the day. I couldn't remember which one for sure. All right, cool.
Show.
Raging Bull.
Raging Bull.
Fans of the Raging Bull might approve of your choice there.
Oh, well, yeah.
My first one I'm going to go with. You got something on the screen.
Yeah, I do.
There you go.
I started typing, dude.
Yeah.
I was on the wrong panel.
My first one I'm going to go with is from one of the bigger name of the 80s. I'm not sure what has a larger name, whether it's him or his beard, but Octagon by Chuck Norris.
Very nice.
Back in the time frame when the ninja movies were starting to take place, I think this might have been one of the earlier ones, actually. It doesn't really qualify as a full ninja movie, but they do have ninjas at the end of it when he's going through the octagon itself to find his brother. And of course, this movie is all about how there's assassinations happening, and he gets drawn into this thing, and comes to find out his brother is the one that's leading the group of assassins. that's taking people out and training new assassins as well. So
Mm.
it's got some names in there that show up. Lee Van Cleef has got a bit part in it. Greg Evigan's in it for a little bit. The one who played BJ and the Bear. He plays Norris's friend in the movie. I forget his name though. Tadashi Yamashita plays his brother. Now, they're of course they're not real brothers; they're adopted brothers. They had the
Okay.
same master and everything.
Mm.
And it was a pretty fun movie overall. One of Chuck's earlier ones. Not quite his earliest, probably maybe 3 or 4 films in.
Yeah, this
So,
was probably the one where on set he got drunk and then urinated into a gas tank of a semi truck, and it became known as Optimus Prime.
it's very possible.
Yep, it was around the same time frame.
And when he was done with him, he just looked at him and instead of saying "do my dishes," he said "roll out."
That's right. Roll out.
Thanks to Mr. Peter Cullen. Thanks to Mr. Peter Cullen from our childhood. I'll be seeing him in July, by the way. Thank you.
Oh yeah, I might still. I don't know yet. I didn't use it up on my PTO.
I'm looking forward to it. How about number 2 from you?
All right. Well, before we move on to number 2, I'll go ahead and drop that name I was looking for a while ago. It's Roberto Duran.
Roberto Duran.
That
Yeah.
was the guy I was thinking about.
Okay.
Yeah, Raging Bull really
God, I
reminded
ain't
me of
heard
that
that name
story.
in a long time.
No, he was savage.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my second pick is gonna be Mr. Jamie Lee Curtis in Prom Night.
Scream Queen herself.
The Scream Queen herself. And that's your one of your old school just slasher films, mass serial killer stalking 4 teenagers that were responsible for the death of another classmate like 6 years earlier. And it's got Jamie Lee Curtis in it, of course. There's another big name in it. Leslie Nielsen's in it as Mr. Hammond. That's what it was.
Is that son during his more serious times?
Yeah, for this movie, it wasn't, because I mean, you know, it's a old gory slasher film.
Yeah,
that they've remade once or twice, probably easily.
probably.
And I'm not 100% positive that is the original artwork right there. I'm thinking that one.
That one might be it. I'm not
Thinking
sure.
that's the
But you know,
original.
some movies had multiple posters that they put out.
Very true. Very true.
So it's hard to say unless you just remember them without a shadow of a doubt. It's hard to say if you got one that might not be the legit first one or something.
Right. That and this one too. This is just an old, like you said, one of the Scream Queens herself. It's an old good old 80s slasher flick. It's been remade. It was one of them that I watched with my older cousins, you know, doing popcorn and seeing, you know, things that little kids ain't supposed to see on TV and all. So
So a weekend deal when you get together, like you said, with your friends or your family, like your cousins and such, and you're renting movies at the local video store, and the person who owns the local video store don't care what you rent because they're making their money.
yeah,
Yeah,
well, I
no,
was all my cousins were older than me too, so
yeah.
I
So they
got
could get it if anything.
yeah, we got to hang out with them.
All right, cool. Number 2 for me, it's all about work, putting the work in. It's a certain time frame to work, and we got 3 people who are just power women in the office when it comes to this movie. And matter of fact, there's a song about it. This very same movie.
Yeah, I believe
And it talks about stumbling out of bed to the kitchen or something and pouring yourself a cup of ambition.
That's it.
Talk about some 9 to 5. Dabney Coleman, Dolly Parton, Lily Tomlin, and Jane Fonda.
Great movie. Hilarious movie.
Very fun movie. Jane Fonda, I think, is either the new girl in the office or she's a temp, one of the two. Lily Tomlin's been around for a while.
Jane is the new one. Yeah, Jane is the new one.
The new girl. Okay. Lily Tomlin has been around. She's kind of like the right hand woman, we'll say, to Dabney Coleman, bringing him stuff and all these things. And Dolly Parton plays his secretary, which he's always trying to get with. He's constantly harassing her, wanting to be with her, and he's a married man himself, and she's trying to fight him off all the time. And they all fantasize at one point of killing him in some way or another.
Well, didn't Dolly actually pull a gun on him? Didn't she?
I think she did at one point. And And in her dream of killing him, I think she was a big game hunter and he was the big game. And she
Yeah.
ends up with his head on the wall next
So
to the other stuff.
for those of you on YouTube, I'm going to remove Chris's. Of course, we're sharing the movie posters. I'm going to remove Christopher's and
Yes.
add mine because I picked this movie too.
Ah, how about that? Is this your number 3? Is this your number 3?
I don't know what number it is, but since you did it, I flipped over
Yeah.
to it real
Hey,
quick.
this is your number 3 right here.
This will be my number 3, buddy. So yeah,
Hey, great minds think alike. That's all I
great
can
minds
say.
think alike. My poster doesn't. It's got the window to the high rise in the
Did
background.
you
Though.
did
That's the
you
only
like
difference.
did you like how they thought they killed him,
Yeah,
but they didn't, and he shows up back at the office.
I liked everything about this movie, man. That and like I said, when I was talking about I almost say cultural significance, but I'm truly really yeah, because back in this time period when this movie came out, even today, but into the later 80s and even early 90s, this movie was on TV. It was people were still renting it.
Mhm.
I know, especially being a Southern boy, all the Southern women were watching it, like my moms and aunts and stuff. So I mean, and these three, especially Dolly, was huge back then, the star power. And on top of all of that, I do believe, I think I could be wrong, but I think this was Lily and Jane's first movie that they did together. Maybe,
It could have been. I know it's
but
not their
they
first
did a
movie.
couple. They did a couple after that, which led into giving us one of my favorite TV shows. Now it's just Grace and Frankie that stars Jane and Lily. And I hadn't watched the whole series yet, so I don't know. But I'm hoping Dolly does a cameo in there somewhere. That'd be hilarious. But
The three of them back together again.
I'm telling you what, yeah, this one was great for me. I love this movie.
All right. Well, jumping to number 3 for me then.
Yes, jump into it.
Number 3 for me. It's all about the comedy. And Travis,
Mm-hmm.
if you tell me that you don't like this movie, all I can say, sir,
I already
is
know what it's gonna be.
surely you can't be serious.
Don't call me Shirley.
Airplane. Talk about twisted. Look at that plane.
That thing
Leslie
is twisted.
Nielsen. Once again, you mentioned
Mhm.
earlier, Leslie Nielsen is in this movie. That's why I asked you, was it one of his more serious movies? Because he was a flat out nut in this one.
Right.
He's talking to the stewardess at one point, and he's like, she's like, the captains are having an illness up there in the cockpit. He was the cockpit. What is it? She was, it's a place where the captain sits and flies the plane, but that's not important right now. You know,
Yeah.
no, what's the illness? Or when they line up in a line, start beating this woman up who's going crazy
Right.
and can't stop, screaming and going nuts, and they all line up, and some got boxing gloves on, some got a lead pipe, some got a bat. The funniest thing to me though in the entire movie, I laughed until my sides hurt and I cried. There's a girl on the plane who's a medical patient,
Mm-hmm.
and one of the stewardesses decides that she's gonna bring her guitar out and sing a song for her to make her more calm because of all the stuff going on. And she's like, "Can I sing you a song?" She's like, "That would be great." And she starts singing the songs about the River of Jordan and stuff. And then she swings the guitar around like this to see the crowd, and she knocks the IV out of the girl's arm. And she's fighting to feel for it. She's feeling around. Her face is starting to pucker up and in. And she finally finds the thing and sticks it back in her arm. And as soon as she gets it back in there, the second she does, she swings back around with that guitar the other way and knocks it back out again.
Heck yeah.
I mean, that movie just killed me. It was so funny. So you got, of course, Leslie Nielsen. You got what's the dude's name? Robert.
I don't even remember.
Oh gosh, I can't remember the names either.
I wasn't
Uh,
huge. I'm
but
not. I'm not gonna say I didn't like the movie, but I wasn't huge on it.
really, is it the type of humor that you didn't get and like, or
Um, I was so young when I saw it the first time.
yeah,
It was probably a lot of it went over my head, and I've never gone back
yeah,
and watched it again.
could be. They had a scene in the airport where they had the Harry Krishnas at the airport was
Mm-hmm.
trying to get with people. Yeah, the main character's name, not his real name is Robert Hayes, I believe.
Okay.
But character name is Ted Stryker, and then the stewardess is his former girlfriend, and he doesn't know she's on the flight as the stewardess and everything. And he's got a drinking problem too. And his drinking problem is he goes to drink it and misses his mouth altogether and puts it in his eye. That's his
Nice.
drinking problem. if you haven't seen this movie and you love a good silly comedy like Naked Gun was and
Naked Gun,
things
33 and a
like
third.
that,
Yeah,
yeah,
Mel Brooks type stuff.
you get Mel Brooks. Yeah, you got to watch Airplane. You'll really like it. So
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely a classic for sure.
I would say so.
Heck yeah. So that was your number what? Well, what are we on? 4?
That was my number 3. This is your number 4,
No. 9 to 5 was both our number 3s.
right? And this is your
But I
number
shot
4.
it in there. So this will be my number 4. Yeah. Okay. So I'm sure this one will be on both of our lists. I was afraid you were about to use it. So I'm gonna go ahead and get it out of the way.
Well, now hold on. You know you've got one already. I already said, right? You showed me the picture earlier by accident.
I may have, but we did 9 to 5. We got together.
Uh-huh.
And then so we got, do you take drugs, Danny? Every day? Good. So I got Caddyshack. This is we're doing with the comedies.
Yes. Number 4.
Caddyshack's got to be on there, man.
Number 4 for you, Caddyshack. Hey, that is a great comedy too.
Oh my god.
Bill Murray
dude.
trying to get that little
gopher,
man.
Yeah. Dude, and all the little stuff in between too. Like what was it? My man said he was talking to somebody. He's like, "Yo, you're so and so's wife," or like, it's like, "This is your wife," and he's like, he said, "Oh, she's lovely. Hey, you must have really been something before electricity or something like that."
Chevy Chase is hilarious in this movie though, with his little one-liners and such he does, and
right,
it's got a great cast. Rodney Dangerfield's in it.
Yep.
I mean, you got a lot of good names there.
Bill Murray,
a lot of good
Dangerfield, humor. Chevy Chase, like you said.
What's the old guy's name right there? I can't remember his name.
Ted Knight.
Ted Knight. There you go.
Yeah, Ted Knight, and then Michael O'Keefe is in it too. That's Dan. Michael O'Keefe is Danny. But yeah, this one's a classic. This one's funny. They even still quote his Bill Murray's character from this on the daggum, the little thing where you go to the movies and they try to get you to join the club or whatever, you know. It's like, so I got that going for me, you know. It's yeah.
The little gopher used to crack my wife up when I was married to her. The thing at the end when the gopher comes back up out of nowhere, and all you see is him looking around like this,
right?
Then you start seeing this.
Yeah, he starts dancing.
He just dancing like he didn't get me.
He's like blowing up the whole golf course and stuff. He's setting landmine. He does all kind of crazy stuff.
Yeah. All right. Well, this is going to be my number 4, right?
Yes. This will be your number 5.
No, you went first.
I know, but then we jumped in and we did 9 to 5 together. So you did 9 to 5, number 3, number 4, number 4. Okay, so yeah, it is your number 4.
Yeah,
I don't know. Okay,
see, that's what you get. That's what you get for jumping in too quick with yours to piggyback off mine. That's what you get.
I know. That's what happens.
See, I got some similar issues with ones I picked and you picked, I'm sure, but I'm not going to come in at the same time like you did. I'm going to just stretch it out.
Yeah.
However, this is not one of them. Any which way you can. All I got to say is Right Turn, Clyde.
Right Turn, Clyde.
If you've never heard of Right Turn, Clyde, you've been robbed. Go out and watch Any Which Way You Can and Every Which Way But Loose.
No doubt.
That is Clint Eastwood playing the role of Milo Beto. Jeffrey Owens is there playing as his brother. You got Sandra Locke playing the love interest in there for Clint Eastwood. She's a singer in a country bar. The mama. I can't believe they are picking on this poor old defenseless lady. And then she pulls out that 12 gauge on him or something, you know, got a shotgun on him all of a sudden.
Right.
Yeah. Poor old defenseless lady.
Poor old defenseless lady.
Oh, this is the one.
Clyde.
This is the second one of the 2 movies, by the way.
Yeah.
This is the one with the guy at the end of it that you've seen in all the other shows, like the A-Team, and he was in Red Dawn playing one of the Russian colonels or whatever, fighting Red Dawn. He's been in a lot of stuff as a bit character, always a tough guy kind of deal. But this was my favorite of the 2, no doubt. The thing with the motorcycle gang always cracks me up. The spiders, they're always after him, trying to get the better of him, and they can't seem to get the better of him for nothing. They get embarrassed more than anything. This is a fun movie for Clint Eastwood. If you like Clint Eastwood for his action and serious stuff like Dirty Harry or even later on down the line when he did what's the movie he had out in the late 2000s about his car? He gave the car to the neighbor kid.
Not El Camino. Oh man, if you hadn't asked me, what is it? El Camino?
No, it's not
No,
El
it's not El
Camino.
Camino. It's a nicer car than that.
I know it when I
It
hear
ain't
it, but
Chevelle. It's El Camino, Chevelle, Nova. Ah, dude, I know what movie you're talking about too. What's happening to
yeah,
us tonight? We can't remember
I know.
anything.
I wasn't expecting to bring that up, but I mean, I'm just trying to show his range.
Right.
Everything from westerns when he was younger, doing true. No, that wasn't True Grit. It was Outlaws
Gran
Goes to
Torino.
Wales. There
Gran
you go,
Torino.
Gran Torino. That was the one, the late 2000s, and then doing things like Good, Bad, and the Ugly for a few dollars more, a fistful of dollars. All those westerns back then. Some more movies he's been in. Heartbreak Ridge was awesome.
Yep.
So he's done quite a few things that was great. But this movie here, a fun film. He's a fighter basically on the side. I mean, him and his brother got a business they do, but Milo's known as a tough guy and always gets brought into a fight and he fights for money. And word gets out that there's this no one can beat Milo Beto, and this one guy I guess wants to test that theory, or somebody brings him in, one of the two. I forget which now. It's been a while,
Right. Right.
but all in all,
Austin
it
Clint
was
movie.
yeah, all in all, it was a great movie. So
Heck yeah.
let's get your number 5, and then we'll do a little time out there.
Number
Well, we'll do
5.
your 5, then my 5.
I like it. Yeah. So he's like, oh shit, man, I'm gonna be late for work again, man. That's the 5th time this week, and it's only Tuesday, man.
Only Tuesday?
I
It's the
got
5th time in the week?
It's the 5th time this week, and it's only Tuesday. This is Cheech and Chong, the next movie.
He's got math like one of my bosses at work. He's got math like they do.
Yeah, oh my god, if you hadn't never seen, so this came after Up in Smoke, and to me, just as funny. Like every movie they did to me was just absolutely hilarious. This was the one where they were in the house next door. Like it starts up, he's carrying the trash can full of gas to pour in his car. Like they fill up the trash can full of gas because his car ran out of gas.
Which
But they're
one?
like,
Which one was it? Where they're like, Dave's not here, man.
that's Up in Smoke. That's the
Is
first
it Up
one.
in Smoke? Okay.
Yeah, this one they living in the house and they're trying to figure out how to. I don't remember what it was. Cheech lost his job and they're trying to. He's trying to score with Donna, and then let's see. This one had Red in it, where Cheech played Red. He brought all the weed. He had brought out the duffel bag of weed,
Yeah.
but they were living in the they were roommates, and like Chong had the motorcycle set up in the daggum living room with the exhaust piped out the window, and it's like blowing exhaust all over the neighbors' roses. This is the one that had Pee Wee Herman in it, where he's like, "I'm sorry, I took the money." Like that guy underneath the table doing the cocaine. And he's like, "All right, I'm not sorry, I took the money."
How long before this was this done before Pee Wee Herman itself came out? Was Pee Wee Herman like 84, 85?
Probably yeah, because he wasn't dressed up as Pee Wee. It was just Paul Rubin,
No.
and he
Yeah,
was
yeah.
just doing the Pee Wee voice. He's like, "I'm sorry, I took the money." Yeah, Cheech and Chong, man, you can't go wrong with any Cheech and Chong movie.
No, you can't. You can't at all. My next one is going to be a favorite of mine and yours both, I believe. And if you don't have it, it's okay. But I would be surprised if you did have it. It brought us a very great soundtrack of music as well.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah,
Flash. Ah.
yeah. I that one got bumped for a different one.
Oh, you bumped Flash Gordon.
I bumped Flash Gordon. I did.
May Ming the Merciless be merciless to you, sir. That's all I can say. Look here, we got all kind of excitement. We got the former football player there, Flash Gordon from Earth, there to rescue the people. You got the Hawk people in the background flying. It's a good day to die, he says,
Yep.
Dive. You know what? I would love to see. There's a lot of movies I don't want to see remade, okay?
Yeah.
A lot of movies. And this might be something we can do a recast on one day for current time.
I could get down with that. With that.
I would love to see a current version of this Flash Gordon.
Yeah.
The the way it was done. Someone playing Ming the Merciless, a new Flash, and the new love interest, the Hawk
Mhm.
people, the ones that were that kind of took his side later on and changed sides with him and everything.
Yeah.
Um,
And I
it's
would
just
really love to see it done in a style that like that movie I was showing you, Turbo Kid, was done, where it's the flashback type stuff, throwback type stuff.
yeah, it would be cool to see it done. I mean, I would love to see it. I don't know if they'll do it or not, but Flash Gordon's do a remake. All I can say, they're doing all these other hero things, right?
Yeah,
Flash Gordon's do a remake,
I agree with you.
but definitely a fun thing. All right, so this is our first 5 out of the way, and we're at that mid part of the show. I
Mhm.
meant to ask him. I wish I had done this now. I
Right.
wish I had thought to ask him if he could of 80s Flicks flashback, if he could give me a list of 10 from 1980 that was his favorites.
That would
Should
be
have
cool.
done that. But in the meantime, since I wasn't smart enough to get that done, take a listen to
Mhm.
this quick ad here with him talking about his show, so you can
Yeah.
go
Doom,
visit him
bow,
also.
bow. I'm
Here
gonna
we
do it on
go.
the front.
Boom,
Doom,
boom.
bow, bow.
Life moves pretty fast. If you don't stop and listen to an 80s Flick Flashback podcast once in a while, you could miss it. Do you love movies of a certain age? Do you miss the days of VHS tapes, VCRs, and the video rental stores? Does the thought of another 80s movie being remade seem inconceivable? My name is Tim Williams. I'm the creator and host of the 80s Flick Flashback podcast. On each episode, I'm joined by guest co-hosts to discuss one of the many movies released in the 1980s. We share our first-time watch memories, our favorite scenes, and even learn some behind-the-scenes stories about the cast and crew along the way. New episodes are released every other Friday on your favorite podcasting platform. So make like a tree, get out of here, and go listen to an excellent episode of the 80s Flick Flashback podcast. The ad is over. Go home. Go.
And that's 80s Flicks flashback with Mr. Tim, friend of the show here. So get him back on again here soon
Yay,
so we can do
yay.
something.
I bet
We
that
are
Tim. I bet I would have to remind him. I bet he'd call me on my number 6.
well, I was gonna say we're at the second leg of the show here now. First 5
Yeah.
are gone. We're headed the next 5 down. And once again, for those who if you just happen to be popping in right now at this point, like you decided you wanted to fast forward through or something, you didn't watch all
Mhm.
of it. You missed some good movies, by the way, if you did.
For
But
sure.
this is our back end of it right here. So
Yeah,
no
yeah.
particular order, no particular order.
No particular
There's
order.
no clear cut number ones or anything. Just 10 fun favorite movies of ours from
True that.
1980. So
True that. True that. And
Travis,
I
if
had to
you
now I say I'm gonna kick it off with this one. That I like I said, I believe Tim and probably a couple other fans of the show would try to call me out on it because it was released in its country of origin in 1979, but it released internationally in 1980, and that's going to be the original Mad Max movie.
Mad Max,
Mad Max, yeah.
it's Mr. Gibson.
Mr. Gibson, a very young Mr. Gibson with a
Uh,
thick Australian accent too.
I hear later on he becomes a lethal weapon to people though.
He does. He does sometimes. He had a brave heart.
He did.
He did. Yeah.
Yeah. I heard that
It's,
sitting next to that bird on the wire. They were
yep.
talking about that.
That's what I was about to say. Just a bird on the
Yeah.
wire. Yeah. You're a good one. Yep. This one started it all, man. George Miller. Isn't it George Miller?
What
Yeah.
director?
Yeah. It wasn't George Miller. Wasn't that his name?
I'm not 100% sure.
I want to say it's Miller. Yeah, George Miller. But anyway, yeah, with him continuing the, you know what I mean? Like here we are. Wow. Here we are 43 years later, 44 years later, actually. And if you want to go to 1979, 45 years later, and we still got George Miller recreating or continuing stories from the Mad Max universe, of which I'm very thankful. I haven't seen Furiosa yet. I've heard mixed reviews.
I was
think
about to ask you, is he doing that one there? So
yeah. But I think with Furiosa, I think people are now, especially with the MCU, I think people are too caught up in everything they see now is women's empowerment. And like, come on, man, this is George Miller. Like, you know what I mean? Like Furiosa was in Fury Road and you had no issue with that. Furiosa has been in the comic books for years and years, so let's take a minute, step back and get off our feels for a minute and appreciate this movie for the badassery that it provides. It's not, I mean, before they got all the craziness going with all the women empowerment in film, I'm sorry. We love to see a good, strong female character,
Yeah.
So Furiosa, I'm gonna give it a chance, man. I got faith in it because for me, it's coming from the creator. With George Miller making this world to begin with, if he is writing it and he's signing off on it, he's directing it, then you know what I mean. For me, hey, it don't get no more Mad Max than that.
So before this Furiosa was Mad Max was first, the Road Warrior was second,
Yes,
and then Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome.
Yes.
Okay.
And then it was Fury Road, and now Furiosa, a Mad Max tale or Mad Max story or something.
Yeah. Oh, cool. All right. Well, moving right along.
Footloose and fancy free. Oh, wrong.
My
80s
number
movie.
6. It's true. Wrong one. But still, it's 80s. We'll let it go. To my number 6, I'm going Superman 2.
I knew you would. I had a feeling.
There was no way Superman was being left out of a top 10 from 1980. There's no way. This was this is my favorite one of the bunch of all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, where he had those three there. He was fighting against.
I'm gonna have to say it was the best one that Reeves did.
Yes. Now there was it's listed 2 different times. It's listed as Superman 2, then it's listed as Donner's cut. Superman 2. I don't remember the difference in the two. I've got them both.
Yeah.
I don't remember what the difference in the two was though. It's been a while since I've seen it.
Yeah. And Superman 2, this is the one where General Zod and the other Kryptonians came to Earth, yeah?
Right. And for some reason I'm drawing a blank on their names. I remember Zod, but I can't remember their names though.
I don't either.
But Christopher Reeves was probably my favorite Superman. And it's just because of nostalgia. That's not to take anything away from Henry Cavill. Henry Cavill played a great Superman.
He don't have to be your favorite because he's the best. Facts don't care about your feelings, Chris.
I'm just saying, man. Christopher Reeves was my favorite because that's what I grew up on. Christopher Reeves
man.
Superman,
you cannot disrespect the OG, man.
But look, ever since these have been remade all the time, Brandon Routh didn't play a bad Superman either.
Right.
He was pretty decent.
Oh, dude, Brandon Routh. The thing about him though was it was like looking at Christopher Reeves a little bit. I loved him so much because he looked like Christopher Reeves in the role.
Yeah.
That's what made me love it. And Superman originally wasn't a big muscle guy. If you look back at the old comics from the 50s and 60s, and Superman was a normal sized human. And the reason for that was to further show that he was alien and it was the sun. He didn't have to be a big muscle bound. His physiology wasn't different to the fact that it made him his muscle density was any different than ours. It was the physiology that the sun enhanced him. So Christopher Reeves worked really well as the nerdy guy and then Superman because you didn't have to cover up all the muscles to begin with,
Right. All right, well, let's go ahead and I'll get mine off the screen here to make room for you because now we're hitting number 7 for you.
Oh, we got to go with my guy, man. So if you do Superman, I don't even care who he's playing as. Then I ain't leaving Robin Williams off the list. I got to do Popeye.
He's strong to the finish because he eats his spinach.
I am what I am. I am is what I am. Yeah. Popeye and olive oil and Bluto.
I loved that movie when I was a kid. I went to my mom took me to the theater a couple different times when I was little to watch this. Do you remember when he's fighting the octopus?
Yes.
And it's like did he just like wind his arms up and they start going?
He twisted it. Yeah, he twisted it.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah, I didn't get to watch. Well, I wasn't quite old enough to see it in the movies, but Mom and Dad got it for me as soon as I was old enough to watch TV. and it was my favorite for 3 or 4 years. I probably wore that VHS out. But yeah,
Well worth it. Well worth it. And
no doubt.
Robin Williams played a great job doing Popeye, I believe.
No doubt. And this one probably has the least significance to cinematic history, but this is one of my favorites. So that's why they got put here.
You know, it's one of those things. It's a comic strip hero brought to life on the big screen for us to enjoy.
This might be another fun one for us to recast too for nowadays. Even though there is talks of making a new one, from what I've seen, I'm not impressed.
It could be. Or we could take, or we could be different. We could take a comic strip that has not been casted. You know, like Popeye was a comic strip or something, or
right.
You know, Archie and the Gang
We'll
was
do Hagar the Horrible.
Hagar the Horrible. We could do Beetle Bailey.
Heck yeah.
I mean, gosh.
Yeah, if y'all hadn't seen Popeye, but y'all remember Popeye, or you know what flips me out too, there's a lot of people around our age that didn't even know there was a Popeye movie that had Robin Williams in it too. I mean,
and Popeye has that music that stands out.
Mm-hmm.
You know it's Popeye. It's if you get a blank screen where you hear the music and you hear
Popeye
something go,
the Sailor Man.
No, I don't mean with the words in it. I mean just the intro to it when it starts, where it's like
yeah, it's almost like Mighty Mouse.
Not quite though, but almost.
Yeah. So I'll take that one down. But yeah, anything that's got Robin Williams in it, man, I'm in.
All right, well, I guess that's next for me then. Next for me is going to be my number 7, right? Or my number 7. And there's no way you're going to say this is not good. I mean, we had at one point A New Hope. And now when that New Hope did his thing, the Empire decided they would strike back.
They're going to strike back.
Darth Vader was not happy.
Neither was the Emperor.
It was not. I'll tell you somebody else who wasn't happy, but he was cool about it, though. Han Solo.
Oh,
yeah. See what I did there? How carbonite bit and everything?
I did.
Yeah, you liked that, didn't you?
I do like that.
That's Wookiee approved, just so you know. The Empire Strikes Back. A lot of people say this is their favorite of the original 3 that came out. This one here. I'm kind of partial to the first one though, just because of the adventure of what it was.
Right.
Now with this one, you see more of Luke Skywalker going to his future of becoming a Jedi. He goes to see Yoda and Dagobah. You got Han Solo and Princess Leia going their way with 3PO and Chewbacca, and they're headed to Cloud City to see his friend Lando.
Yeah,
trying to get help, I guess. And everything turns from there. So you got Lando doing a quick stabbing in the back because he was forced to, and staging a rescue at the end to get him back. Luke feeling what's going on and rushing to go face Darth Vader early before he's ready, which still proved to be a good fight, though. It was still a fun fight to watch.
Right.
That was our biggest lightsaber scene we had at the time.
Yeah, truly.
For us to really see, because let's face it, Obi-Wan and Darth Vader in the first one with a lightsaber fight was not good.
Well, you know, it wasn't. It truly wasn't. But then when I look back at once you see the prequels, and then you come back to that moment, and then the beauty that was the Obi-Wan TV show. Once I get all that stuff put together, that fight makes so much sense, and it's so good that it happened that way. And you know that Obi didn't get defeated; he just stopped, and boom, and then the robes dropped. He instantly became one with the Force in that moment.
And I'll tell you something I like from modern day going all the way back to A New Hope.
Mm-hmm.
They had released the Disney series of Obi-Wan.
Mm-hmm.
And this is back when Darth Vader was he's risen to power already. Obi-Wan has not gotten older yet. He's older than what he was in Revenge of the Sith, but he's not quite reached them golden years yet.
Right.
There's a scene in the old movie A New Hope where Darth Vader's like, haven't felt his presence since. And then it cuts away and he starts walking off. So they're like, where? Since when? Since when? So for years and years, people were like, oh, he meant because on Mustafar. Mustafar's the last time he felt it, right? That's
Right.
what they're saying. And since this is your number 8 movie, it looks like we'll go and continue with it from here.
Yep.
Talking
We'll just keep right on
So
going.
this is
For
your
y'all that can't see, I did the same thing I did last time, but didn't interrupt. I just took
right.
his tab down and threw mine up.
And this is just, so Travis's number 8 is also The Empire Strikes Back. So it wasn't Mustafar where he last seen him then. It was on that other planet where they faced off with each other, and he left him where he was. I don't know why he didn't kill him yet again at that point.
Right.
Is beyond everybody. He could have saved a lot of problems. But
well, we know why he didn't. We do know. It's because Annie was his little brother, and he was always bound to keep his promise to Qui-Gon. It's like, dude, Star Wars is so deep too. Like, and then what George Lucas created, and then he said from the beginning that he's always said that this is the middle of the story, and you know, we go back and look at all the fan fiction that came out, and then which is considered legends now since Disney took it over, but the true fans don't care. We don't care what you call canon.
I just want Star Wars stuff.
That's it, man.
I don't care. I don't care if it's the old stuff. I don't care if they go with the Dark Forces or the Dark Jedi Forces, wherever it was called, where Luke almost went to the dark side or did briefly go to the dark side. And,
right.
But see, now Han and Leia they have the twin kids who are
this is going to go fully opposite. This is going to go fully opposite of what I just said about Furiosa, but that's like the new show that's coming out. I got no care to watch it.
Acolyte, I've already watched the first 2 episodes.
Really? And
it takes place 100 years before everything else happens.
Really?
Yes.
That's pretty awesome. But the thing about it is it came so close to drawing me in with having Carrie-Anne Moss in it.
Yeah.
And then, but it's like Disney's got me so turned off that I don't even care now.
I'll talk to you more about it when we're done with the podcast. I don't want to ruin that for anybody. It's a current thing going on. So
right, yeah. For those of you that don't know, there's another show out that, like I said, man, I've loved most of it. They've done most of Mandalorian. Almost everything about Mandalorian I loved.
Andor was good.
Andor was decent. Yep.
They've got the Obi-Wan they did. Now they got the first season of Ahsoka was done.
Yep, and Ahsoka,
everything has been good. And
I've
so
been happy with Ahsoka.
Acolyte, the first 2 episodes, I'm happy with, and I look forward to a lot more. My only problem with these are you only see about 6 episodes per thing, and they're done.
Right.
I wish they'd be longer, but I understand it. It's like making a full-fledged movie or something. I get it, and it takes money and things and time, and
for sure,
it's all good. So jump into my number 8.
Mm-hmm.
I believe it's my number 8.
It will be, yes.
I got Jamie Lee Curtis in here also.
Oh, you better not. Okay.
But she's in The Fog.
Yeah.
The original movie of The Fog.
Yes.
So talk about your Scream Queen movies. Jamie Lee Curtis playing her part in that. Adrienne.
Which this is
Barbosa, is that her name?
Yeah. And this is Stephen King novel, isn't it?
Yes. Stephen King.
So. Yeah, I thought so.
But directed by John Carpenter.
Yeah.
I do believe
you got Stephen King
hold on.
Directed by John Carpenter.
Is it? Hold on. Is it a Stephen King book?
That's why I couldn't remember. I'm pretty sure
Stephen King has something called The Mist, I believe.
Maybe that's what it is. It's The Mist. So I couldn't remember The Fog and The Mist being Stephen King or Dean Koontz did something kind of like that too. But Dean Koontz, I don't think he was writing novels back then. I'm not 100% on that.
Well, I can tell you, The Fog is a horror novel. It says written by English writer James Herbert, published in 1975.
Okay,
so that answers that question.
Yes.
And 1980, John Carpenter made the movie. Now, I do, like I said, he's got King's got something in a short story book. His book of short stories called The Mist.
Right, and they made a movie about that. Now, that's the one, correct me if I'm wrong, that's the one where the guys are in the car and he's got the gun and it ends badly for him. Right?
in the fog,
No, in the mist.
in the mist. I don't remember. There
Yeah,
was a movie made of it. I think it's the one where people are trapped in a grocery store too and can't get out.
yes, that's the one I'm thinking of. Now, the
Yeah.
fog is the one, something about a boat wreck or something, wasn't it?
There was a thing where some pirates or somebody were cursed,
There we go.
and so I guess they're coming to town for some kind of item that was found or something that washed ashore. I believe it's somebody found, and they're coming for that, and they're there to walk the town, and they're what's in the fog. The fog goes over the town and everything.
So basically, love, it was like us going on one of our excursions to find the gold.
It wasn't quite gold
They
there.
were
I don't
looking for
believe.
rum. They were looking for the last pieces of Cortez's gold.
I did hear someone yell. I did hear someone yell out, "Why is the rum gone?"
Yeah,
I did hear that.
it does. That totally sounds like the beginning of Pirates of the
Listen,
Caribbean. Man.
now, I know, but you've seen the fog though, right?
Many years ago.
All right, so the fog, prom night, Halloween. There's another horror movie I think she did as well, wasn't there? That's why they called her one of the original scream queens.
She's been in a couple.
What's your absolute favorite with her? Would it be Halloween?
With Jamie Lee Curtis?
As far as her horror movies back in the day.
Okay, because I was about to say True Lies.
No. Her horror movies back in the day there. That were when she was considered scream queen and everything.
Yeah, it's gonna be Halloween.
Yeah, I think Halloween takes it for me, but the fog comes in second though.
Yeah, for sure.
No doubt,
But
no doubt.
the crazy thing too, though, was it's kind of like as far as that goes, the prom night movie kind of kicked off in the 80s. That was kind of kicked off, following. I think The House at the End of the Lane and Sorority Row or Sorority Girls or Night or whatever was on. I think those were the tail end of the 70s. So this one was the first kind of hack and slash to come out in the 80s, and then it just kind of kept rolling forward for that. So that's a special one for me, being a super duper horror fan too.
Yeah.
All
right, next for you.
we got
number 9 for you.
Number 9. Number 9, that's gonna be what is that? That's 4 days before Friday the 13th.
I didn't put that on my list, believe it or not. I did not. Because the first one wasn't one of my favorites, so I didn't include it.
Right. I can see that. But I don't know. It's the beginning of a pop legend. This is a pop icon, and there are actually Camp Crystal Lakes out here, like you know what I mean? Like it was crazy. And then the twist at the end, where Betsy Palmer, who played his mama, was actually the killer and everything, whacking him with the boat paddle, like.
Yep.
And there was a good bit of tension and mystery to it too. It wasn't just a flat out kill 'em all on the first Friday the 13th. There was some suspense and some setup into this, and it turned into Jason the Uber killer from this movie. But this movie is like a classic.
Did we ever figure out, or was it ever explained, how Jason goes from being a little boy who was drowned at Camp Crystal Lake by the age of 13 to being a grown man in part 2 and killing people?
Well, yeah. So in the first, they did like a seance to bring him back or something. Like, there's a couple ones that his mama was still, somebody brought him back, or his mom met him in hell and was commanding him to do things. Freddy versus Jason. Freddy brought him back from hell and was pretended to be his mom. As far as early on concerned, I was gonna say, as far as the second movie is concerned, I honestly just 100% do not recall. It's been so long since I've seen probably the first 4 or 5 movies, because I've seen them. I've seen every one of them.
Yeah.
But the only ones I've gone back to watch have been like Jason Takes Manhattan and
The New Blood and Jason Lives.
New Blood. I've actually seen Jason X about 3 times because I think it's hilarious. Jason in Space.
It's about as funny as him and being in New York and no one
I'm
noticed him.
telling you. Well, that's yeah. So Jason Takes Manhattan is probably my favorite one, and I think that's what is that? That's part 5 or 6.
It's 8.
Is that 8? God
Yes.
Almighty! So 6 is Jason
So
Lives.
you got 2, you got 3, you got 4 is the final chapter, 5 is the new
Yep.
beginning, 6 is Jason Lives, 7 is the New Blood, 8 is Jason Takes Manhattan,
Yeah,
9 is Freddy versus Jason,
and then
and
Jason X is
Jason-
Jason in Space.
right.
Yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, this is just like that. And like I said, too, a lot of things too that go with me too is the impact that it had on cinematic history or cinematic culture in the world, really. And Friday the 13th right up there. It had that Hitchcock suspense horror with it, and some of the Hitchcock ways of shooting the scenes where they were like looking through the mask and stuff.
Mhm.
And then the suspensefulness, the music, it's one of the perfect horror movies, I think.
And look, I said Jason 9 was Jason versus Freddy. I'm sorry, that's not. Jason versus Freddy spawned off the 9. 9 is the one where it's like it had Erin Gray in it. She played a waitress at a restaurant.
Yeah.
And I forget the premise behind that particular Friday the 13th and what it was actually called.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it was Jason Goes to Hell, wasn't it?
Yes, it was Jason Goes to Hell, because at the end of it, that's where Freddy's claw came up and grabbed the
Right.
mask.
That's where they worked them in together.
It sure was. It was Jason Goes to Hell.
Yeah. All right. Well, number 9
Number
for me. Number 9
9.
for me. I do believe you've seen this one already.
Okay. Hey, looky there.
Yeah. There's a pretty little gopher holding a golf ball.
Cute little gopher.
There's some Rodney Dangerfield, some Ted
You want
Knight.
a spark? I've got a spark. I knock a ball into a gopher hole.
I was gonna bring that up too. Man, you must be reading my mind tonight. I was like, I wish we could hear Robin Williams describing how golf was invented.
Oh my God. Oh man. If I could cuss like crazy, I'd do it.
For those of you who
mean with a stick? Oh, you mean with a stick, kind of like pool? Oh, not with a straight stick. With a stick.
And he is you do somebody gets in the weeds and you swing and you swing and you swing till you feel like you're about to have a stroke. That's what we'll call it.
Feel like you're gonna
stroke.
Die. Oh, that's what we'll call it. We'll call it a stroke because you feel like you're gonna die.
Yeah. But then the best part about it was he goes, so you do all this just one time? He's like, no, 18 times.
Yeah, that was great.
For those of you who have not seen this, know what we're talking about, go to YouTube and look up Robin Williams Explains Golf.
Yeah. Or just go watch the whole, was it Weapons of Self-Destruction it was on?
I don't remember.
Or was it live I think it was live on Broadway.
I don't remember which stand-up it was. I just know if I type that in, it pulls it up for sure.
I'm pretty sure it's live on Broadway. So if y'all go watch live on Broadway, just watch the whole thing, because he's talking about ice skating. He's talking about getting off the boat, and they're like, do it willy-nilly, fillet. He's like, what? He's like, oh, yeah. Take a little. He says, so you don't know what to say? So just like, yeah. He's like, oh, the only thing you can understand him say, because he's actually throwing Gaelic in there with it. But he's like, well, take a cigarette pack and stick it up your bunghole. He's like, yeah. Oh, yeah. So funny.
He is very funny. But we won't sit here and dwell on this one. We've talked about it already, though, as far as Caddyshack goes. We know it's a great movie. It was fun. Let's get to your number 10, man. Number 10.
My number 10, we said this was in no order, but through the course of the night, I've saved this for last, because this is actually my number 1 favorite 1980 movie, and it is the perfect horror movie. It is The Shining. Here's Johnny. Oh my gosh, dude. This movie is the perfect horror movie. I mean, I'm watching stuff on YouTube today. People have watched this movie for the first time and are freaked out and lit over this. This movie came out in 1980, and the special effects were like the lions coming off of the pedestals. I mean, it is just still mind-blowing how good and relevant this movie is today against everything that we've got. The CGI and the production values and stuff like that. This movie is huge. This is a Stephen King novel, by the way.
Yes.
So you got the King of Horror, and then there's a sequel to this, which honestly, for me and at my age is kind of, there's a scene in it that's kind of hard to watch just because being a dad and a nanny hen that I've turned into. But it's called Doctor Sleep, and it is about Mikey. Is the little boy's name Mikey? But anyway, he's got the shine. They call it Danny. It's Danny. Danny's all grown up, and the movie. That's what a lot of people miss, the fact that the name of the movie is The Shining. Well, Halloran, ain't that his name? Yeah, Halloran. Halloran is talking to Danny and tell him he's got the shining. And that means he can see things that other people can't, or he can speak to the dead, or he just see things that he can communicate with things that are not of this world. And uh so evidently Jack has got it too. Not just Jack Nicholson, but Jack Torrance, which is the dad. Jack's got it too. And he is a recovering alcoholic. And they go up here to the ski lodge, and he's going to be the maintenance man at the ski lodge for the summer and take the family and all. And he just descends into psychosis, really. And then it comes to that it's not just him, it's actually the place, and how the place is haunted and this and that. But phenomenal movie. There's I think there was a made for TV remake of it that was really good.
It was.
It's referenced in Ready Player One, which is another awesome movie. So one of the things they have to do to find the keys in Ready Player One is go to that hotel in The Shining. This movie is just so culturally relevant, and I mean, I just can't say enough about it. It's the perfect horror movie. It's everything. There's laughs, there's emotion, there's just all the stuff in it, and some of that probably come from the fact too that it was directed by Stanley Kubrick. So you've got a Stephen King movie directed by Stanley Kubrick, starring Jack Nicholson. You can't go wrong with that.
Sounds good.
It is.
So this movie, I do believe
phenomenal.
this movie. Now, of course, you remember Marty from being on the show with us. We did Trick or Treat. This was I think one of his favorites back in the day as well. And if I'm not mistaken, I don't think his sister liked this movie too much, and she listens to us sometimes on Fridays. She said when she's at work. And if she gets up to this one and I'm wrong, or even if I'm right and mention her name to begin with, she'll probably kill me. So I'll leave her nameless. I'll leave her nameless, but she knows who I'm talking about. I do believe she used to get freaked out when Marty would look at her and say, "Red rum, red rum."
Dude, there's another thing we do that, dude. They say red rap songs. I say it at work. That we'll be like red rum, red rum. The little man, he's got his friend and his finger that talks. Like, dude, everything about this movie. And like I said, Dr. Sleep is the sequel to it, and it's a little further out there because of the and not only is it a little further out there, it actually touches on some conspiracy stuff these days. Mm-hmm. I'll throw this word out there again for people that don't know. Just start researching adrenochrome. It'll kind of blow your mind, especially if you get in. There's some stuff out there about it that's in people being seen talking on camera about it. That's it's freaky, but the idea behind the Dr. Sleep thing is the adrenochrome. It mirrors it.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's a good one too. So now that we got one of the greatest horror movies of all time is my number 10.
Well, I don't have one of the greatest horror movies of all time as my number 10. But I do have a horror movie on here at number 10.
Uh-oh.
I don't know if you remember this or not, or if you've even seen it before.
Mm-hmm. I have not.
Alligator.
I have not.
Alligator is about a movie about this kid who had a little, I guess he had a little baby alligator.
Is it like Lake Placid?
Well, no. Well, I mean, it gets pretty big. Okay. What happens is that the parents flush it down the toilet. Okay. Yep. This goes off that old. There's a thing out there like about like Thin Man and
stuff
like that. Remember
the gators in the sewers? Yeah,
alligators in the sewers. This is what I think they kind of base it off this in a sense because the parents flush it down the toilet. It lives in the sewer for a lot of years,
Mhm.
and something happens where some lab was doing research, and they'd injected a bunch of puppies and dogs with growth hormones,
Yeah.
and they dumped them in a sewer somewhere, I think, or something like that, and the alligator ends up eating them, and I think the growth serum, the growth stuff, and you know,
Ooze. Call it ooze.
we'll call it the ooze, affects him, all right? It affects him. Now he doesn't become Bebop or Rocksteady or anything like that, but
Mhm.
he become a fairly large alligator and wreaking havoc and terror among people just outside of the wherever you might find an opening there in the canals or something or
Right.
uh, so I remember it being scary to me at the time because I was so young and everything, and it was a
Mhm.
big giant alligator eating people and everything. So I thought that was kind of significant. It stuck in my head all these years. I still remember watching it to this day, bits and pieces of it, but I have not seen it since 1980,
Ah, heck
80
yeah.
or 80 or 81.
Well, I
That's why
got
I'm saying it sticks with me.
I got a piece of trivia on that.
What's that?
The animatronic that was used in that movie
Okay.
was donated to the Florida Gators after the movie and used as a mascot named
Wow.
Ramon.
How about that?
Named Ramon.
I didn't know that. My movies, by the way, that I have trimmed out
Mm-hmm.
that I didn't keep
Oh yeah, yeah. Let's hear those.
since I did promise to release those. Popeye was one of them.
Nice.
Stir Crazy was another.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see if I can make out through these scribbles here. My last one, and I probably can't. Maybe it was just a two. You know what? I think it was just a two. It must have been 12, not 13. I had. My bad. So Stir Crazy and Popeye did not make my list. I got
Cool.
rid of them for the other stuff.
I can see that. I
Oh, no, no,
respect that.
no, nope. I take it back. Here's the third one. Seems like old times.
Okay.
Chevy Chase, Goldie Hawn, Charles Grodin. Good movie.
Heck yeah. So let's do something fun here. Just on the spot, real quick. No thought to it. Out of all of your movies that you picked, what was your favorite scene? Bam.
Of
Just
all
real
the
quick.
movies that I picked, what's one of my favorite scenes of all of them?
Yeah.
The end of Superman
First
2,
one
where
that
he
comes to
fakes
mind.
where he fakes reversing the powers, and he took the powers from the badge from General Zod and them, and kept his
Nice.
the dirty reversal trick there. That's of all of you put me on the spot. The first one that come to mind it was Superman, and it's that
Heck
scene
yeah.
right there at the end of it.
Nice. I like that. I like that. I
But you,
think I think mine would just, honest to God, the last one that I mentioned, it has to be that moment in The Shining where the lions, the statues come to life in the garden.
Mhm.
And because it's still mind-boggling to me that some of our older movies like that and like Legend, Tim Curry's real makeup,
Mhm.
hold up to anything today. It looked just as good. And maybe it's because of the film, it's all the same age or something, or maybe it's does it to where it doesn't look, I don't know, but this, like, that moment to me is still mind-blowing.
Nice.
Heck yeah.
Well, it has been a fun week. A fun week. I should say a fun podcast this week.
It's been a
We've done a
fun
top 10
show.
in quite some time, so that was nice.
I do like doing the top tens.
What to do with it now? What this is all Travis's plan here. Now we're doing each year from the
Yes.
80s. We're not doing them in succession. We'll skip here and there. So
Mhm.
we'll do some movies, and then we'll have 1981,
Yep.
82, and so on. So if you like the top teams we do, then we'll have something for you to look forward to here again soon. We'll do another one, and then go from there. So I guess we're going to start wrapping things up, Travis. Kind
Mm-hmm.
of late at night for us here and everything. So if you are first time listening to the show, make sure you are following us. We're on YouTube now, so click that bell, that little
Right.
reminder thing, so you know we got something new coming out for you.
That
I'm
way
still
you can look
uploading older
at our
stuff.
gorgeous bald heads.
That's right.
Well,
My
whenever he doesn't have a hat on.
although mine's covered right now, so I don't hit
Yep.
Travis with the glare.
Yeah.
But I mean, I hit that bell and everything that tells you when the new stuff comes out. I'm still uploading the older stuff, so there'll be some new things uploaded that are the older materials, but you'll be able to see them visually at that point. And then every week when we have the new ones come out, I put things on YouTube and it links to the website. Speaking of the website, RetroLife, the number 4, the letter U.com. You can listen to it straight from there in the browser, and you can also watch the video as well. That's linked to YouTube. If you are a person just likes the audio versions only, catch us on Spotify and iTunes and pretty much anywhere you get your podcast downloaded from, that you listen that way. So we're out there pretty much everywhere.
Heck yeah.
Travis,
Yeah, man.
do you think that you have something to end the show with today? Or did I ruin it with that crappy Bach, Beethoven, and stuff earlier?
No, it's more of a thing for people, especially our age, to be aware of. The CDC and everybody's announced too that you got to be careful with these 80s flashbacks, especially since there's more and more stuff coming out with the 80s flashback stuff, with the movies and the music and stuff, because a lot of people are getting symptoms. They'll be listening, especially to the older music, like the knack will come on, and might end up wearing day glow pants and big glasses or windbreaker suits again. Might have done caught the coronavirus.
Oh no, not my Sharona.